The Jensen Interceptor is one of the most iconic Grand Touring cars of the last 40 years. And the Great Escape car is the ultimate Mark III version. It is one of 1,200 Series 4 cars made between 1974 and 1976, when production ended, and is fitted with the Chrysler 7.2-litre V8 engine. Its unusual combination of metallic blue paintwork and red leather interior is particularly rare, as apparently are the door handles. The Jensen was one of a handful of cars that went back to the factory in the 1980s to be upgraded to Mark IV specification at a cost then of £20,000. This gorgeous car demands respect and commands the road, and yet is still quick, fun and easy to handle. And after all these years, it can still attract attention.
Hi, welcome to Classic Cars Driven. I'm Matt Nichols, and today we're driving the Jensen Interceptor. Now I think it's fair to say that Jensen is another sort of British mark that suffered a sort of fate of poor financial backing, possibly poor business plan in many ways. But I don't think you can argue with the ambition. I mean, in essence, what they've done is taken a sort of Italian design car. In the end, they were all built back in the factory in West Bromwich. They've gone to America and they've squeezed in the biggest V8 engine they could find, or they could source, in the form of this Chrysler unit, which is in 7.2-litre form in this particular car. And the thing about big American cars is you just get this luxurious, easy riding V8 motor that will pull you up to 60, 70, 80 miles an hour and beyond completely effortlessly. I mean, the effort does come with a degree of fuel economy issues. It has to be said that Jensen's had an awesome reputation for drinking fuel. And that is definitely the case. They are thirsty cars. I drove one for about 250 miles, and I think averaged something like 13 to the gallon. Driving it in this sort of civilian style, 50, 60 miles an hour, so driving it quite carefully. And as the car weighs nearly 2 tons, quite often, like we are now, just sort of going downhill, you don't need to even put a tickle on the throttle pedal. It's only as you come to the bottom of the hill and sort of ride out the other side do you even need to consider to put the foot back on the gas. So it does seem that the engine's hardly being used, but despite that, the fuel economy really is sort of 10 to 13 to the gallon. To put that into perspective, an Aston Martin DB6, a car I also drove in the region of about 100 miles, averaged 14 to the gallon. And you don't ever hear that quoted. The Aston Martin DB6 is never really accused of having particularly poor fuel economy. It's always that's always aimed at the Jensen Interceptor. So there isn't actually that much between them. But I have to say, I do love this car in many ways. It was the second classist car that I drove when I got interested in driving them. And it really, really impressed. There's something about the dashboard, the Italian styling of the exterior panels, the sheer mass of the car, and that wonderful, wonderful Chrysler V8. That means you just want to cruise around the countryside all day long. You don't want it to stop. Now in the end it has to stop, and obviously the reason it stops quite often is the fuel gauge disappearing south at a rate that you can physically watch, I have to say. Well, that was the gentle pull away up to sort of 50, 60 miles an hour. What we'll try shortly is the alternative approach to the Jensen. The engine and the versatility of the engine gives you 2 options in this department. You can basically either pull away like that, good for leaving crowded villages and towns, nice easy getaway up the road, as cool as you like, or you can unleash the thunder within. At the end of the day, 300 horsepower, Lord knows what pounds, feet and torque, and an engine this size means that if you want to wind it up and really press the throttle pedal, this car will walk away, all 2 tons of it, at quite incredible rate. So we're just coming into the town now, which gives me the chance to sort of cruise through, and providing the road ahead is clear and suitable, I'll exit the 7.2 litre V8 towing 2 tonnes of Jensen Interceptor back up to the National